Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack. And we are coming to you live on a Monday, as we always do, the VBC together again. And who are we? Who is the VBC? The V is me, the vet, Jamie Williams. With me, as always, is the B, my tag team partner, Brandon. I'm tagging Brandon through the screen, fresh off a hot Monday Night Raw watch along. Brandon, what's going on?
Not much, man. We had a fun first hour of Raw. I mean, there was some ridiculous shit there, but you know what? Honestly, the more ridiculous and dumb shit it is, the more fun it is to watch it together so we can make fun of it together. That's what makes it great, in my opinion.
That's true. Sometimes liking things ironically is the order of the day. And so who are we talking about that is enjoying it? Of course, the chat is enjoying it. And we have with us...
Sorry, Canada Spaceman, there are no pants tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the proof.
Uh-oh. Here comes the proof. Are we going to have to censor anything? Oh, my goodness. There it is. Getting it right there in the camera. No pants.
Way too damn hot in this house for pants, pal.
We do our podcast with no pants on. That's right.
But yes. I didn't show any skin, though, so we're good.
We're good. We're good. We saw a cloth, yeah. All right, so who had to witness that? Why don't you go ahead and let us know who's joining us?
All right, the unfortunate victims of that looks like were Pro Wrestler 91, Lizbeth, Lab Rat, Canada Spaceman. Hope you guys are all having a great time tonight, and there's a reason why I said you need to sign an NDA before you come in.
That's right. Yeah, we can't have you going and telling everybody else and all the other live podcasts what you saw here.
Yeah, my ass is a fucking pancake.
That's right. It's a liability. So, with that in mind, you've been watching Monday Night Raw. Is there any hot and fresh news from Monday Night Raw? Is there any hot and fresh news from anywhere in the wrestling business? Is there any noteworthy topics, or is this going to be about the shortest Impact Attack of all time? We could break a record here.
Man, there's not, from what I've seen in the wrestling business itself, and not a whole lot on the news front, except for the fact that Johnny Ace has flipped. Now he's back on Vince's side. What's going on there?
Do you think that makes his words sound more credible or less credible?
Less, and I think that makes Vince look even more guilty.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just talking about the optics and how that makes it look in the eyes of the public.
Well, is it not Vincent Kennedy McMahon who always said perception is reality?
Exactamundo, my dude.
So, yeah, it's funny. It's not something that we really... Ever since that news came out, it's not something I've really talked about on the shows that I've done. But, I mean, that's the first thing I definitely thought. Like, not like I believed anybody in the first place.
Exactly, Tennessee Couponer. You have to look. You can't listen to what they say. You have to watch what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the... if you take everything at the... looking at things from, 30,000 feet with a bird's eye view, basically what's amounted to from Vince McMahon's legal team is nuh-uh, and Janelle Grant's legal team is yes, huh? So that's about what you could sift through all the legal jargon and corny wordings and stuff like that. But
at
that's
the end of
essentially what it amounts to.
Right. At the end of the day, when you break it down, it really comes to is he said, she said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, she has the texts, but at the same time, though, can it really be proven that she didn't consensually participate in that? As vulgar and fucked up as those things are?
Yeah. Well, it's
again, there's no way to prove it either way. at the end of the day, like Disco always says, it has to come out in court.
Right. Well, I'm sure it will, but that the idea of your actions of saying things like, oh, I vigorously deny all these charges, and this other. By the way, let's not do this in public. Let's settle this in private arbitration. Let's, we don't want, like you said, it's like Tennessee Couponer says, actions speak louder than words. Look what he's saying. He's saying because he knows it's the reason that everybody is doing the things that they're doing is because they know that these things can be proven. Now, whether they're sure that they will be proven or not is one thing, but they're definitely afraid of it. I mean, Vince McMahon retired on Twitter before anybody knew any of this stuff because he thought it might get out. So that right there, you could talk about actions speaking louder than words even 2 years ago. Like, we should have known then. You don't do that kind of stuff if you're innocent. You don't do that kind of stuff.
Dude, if you want to talk about actions speaking louder than words, Vince retired on Twitter. A year later, he's on the TKO board of directors. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, just so he could get forced back out. But as long as it was under as long as it seemed to be on his terms.
Liz just nailed it. Do everything you can to keep it from coming in front of a judge.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we see it. And then as far as like the Johnny Ace thing goes, of course, like you came out and said you were a victim. Now you're saying, oh, just kidding. I wasn't a victim. You can't do that.
Right. So, and then here's where my mind goes with that. Does Johnny Ace's camp have knowledge of something from Vince's camp? There's a chance Vince might win this case. Again, I'm talking from a legal standpoint, not from a moral or humanity standpoint, just from a legal standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, it's whatever he believes will happen, which I think that's what it is. I think he probably got talked into it, but I mean,
Start a new promotion, pal.
Yeah, sure he is. So we'll see, but that is like, everything they've done has just been a red flag, and everything that they've put forward as somewhat evidence just seems to be like a really weak, pathetic attempt of like, same thing. Like when you accuse a child of something, it's like, well, they just point the finger back and then,
Right, and Liz has made another great point. That's going to be an enormous battleground in this case, is like of proving of the breaking of the NDA.
Mm-hmm.
Because from everything I've heard of, and again, I'm talking 100% from a legal standpoint, both sides have legit arguments as far as the breaking of the NDA goes.
Yeah, I mean the NDA should be unenforceable. Based on,
I agree with that. It should, like Janelle Grant, I stand with her, and as far as that goes, 100%.
Yeah. Not only should the NDA be unenforceable, but they broke the NDA by even mentioning the terms of stuff. We could rehash this whole thing again. I don't really think we need to. It's gonna, like you said, it's all gonna come out. At least to whatever degree. I don't know if it's going to be satisfactory to the public, but it will. It's not like everything's just going to go back to normal. Like, oh, okay, so I won this. I won this civil suit, so now I'm back in WWE. I don't think it's going to be that simple. It's not really going to change things from that standpoint.
Right. Like, I think from a legal standpoint, I think what's going to happen is the WWE will be acquitted. Vince will be convicted.
There you go. So other than that, not much news in the wrestling front. It's just a lot of stuff from podcasts. So.
Yes. And again, just to reiterate, to cover our asses, this is my opinion. I'm not speaking fact. I am simply speculating on what I personally think this is going to go down. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? We'll see when it happens.
Don't worry, they'll sue you for shaking your ass on the camera before they'll ever sue you for anything you said about this case. So we're good.
Cool.
Yeah. As far as that goes, I guess really there's only one other thing to do, and that is to talk about this damned episode of TNA Impact. And man, I am curious to see what will happen once we've done covering it, and then it's time to punch it up because
Sure, I gotta pull that back up. 1 sec, sorry.
it seems like as you may have mentioned off the air, there seemed to be some promise here, but whatever promise there was quickly sort of devolved into the same old stuff. Basically, think that's kind of how it goes.
Again, it's kind of the same way with a lot of the wrestling matches. Is like they start out great, then you think you're going to take it home, like at the perfect time when it would make sense to go home, and then they go 5 more minutes. What the fuck?
I don't know. What I do know is that they got to give everybody the Under Siege ketchup.
Oh, I just noticed I completely forgot about something that I had. It's actually going to play up really very well. When I do punching up Impact, there's going to be a swerve that's going to affect the show.
AEW champion Shane Strickland?
That'd be cool.
Oh, but not that swerve. Okay, got it.
Dude, how great would it have been, like you said that, and the next thing you know, he pops up and hits me in the back of the head with a chain.
Oh, man. My goodness. Him and that damn chain. Did you take one of his dreadlocks or like what?
Dude, that from that entire 3-hour block of Collision and Rampage, that was by far the best content they put out. Not even close.
Swerving a chain?
Well, not only that, but it made sense. Like, these guys beat the shit out of him and Prince Nana and left him like beaten and bloodied. So he comes back and just completely jumps them and fucks all of them up, and like gets extremely like violent and vicious. Like damn, a character actually being themselves and getting back at the people that fucked him over.
Well, they what did I say? They went from, hold on. I actually had a note about that on my, it was actually, where we go?
Like, that was a time I didn't mind the cinder block thing because, like, that was a situation where it made sense. Like, you did this to me and my friend. I want to hurt you.
Yeah. So you got a cinder block from the local Home Depot and you took it to work and you set it under the ring and you waited for them to have their whole match, and then you sat calmly in the back and you got dressed, and they were there, and you just let them get dressed and you let them go out and have their match. And then as soon as their match was over, you went out there and you hit your music, and then you went through the crowd, and then you hit them with the chain, and then you had your cinder block and all that other stuff. It was good of you to wait for them to do all that. Like I said on the Wreckage show, I said that those guys, the embassy.
Can I jump in on that?
Sure.
I can 100% see a dude who planned a home invasion pulling that off.
Well, even if he did, they went from, as I put it, from beating job guys to being job guys. Like, you went and had no heat, and that's the whole point, was you're supposed to get heat, and your heat immediately went away. And that's, where do you go from that? You go a wrestling match with Brian Cage on Wednesday. Great.
Yeah, again, like that, as far as like the actual structure and where they place that particular moment, 100% agree with you on that. Way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like that's how he should have got back at them. He just, like, the win way off.
Well, that's the story of AEW, basically. But this is a story of TNA, and so with TNA, after they let us know what happened on Under Siege, we bring out the system. They get their own cheerleaders. The cheerleaders are from the Arena Football League of uh, what Arena Football team was it? Something Fire something, and the cheerleaders were the Flames, or I don't know.
Somewhere in maybe like an Albany suburb, who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, arena football is just way too hot, pun intended, for like, everybody knows that. But yeah, these cheerleaders are here for the system, okay, and they're out there to talk about how great they are as usual. This is Moose, so I'm not complaining. You can keep this going as long as you want, as long as Moose is on there. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Matter of fact, Alicia has made a video tribute for everyone. Bless her heart. She has this nice thing she worked on, but it broke. The video tribute broke. Yeah.
Broke, broke, broke.
Yes.
Yes.
So then Matt Hardy goes out and he Matt Hardy's it up, and then he starts beating all their asses single handedly. But then they remembered, oh yeah, we're a bunch of people, and he's just this guy, and then they beat him up. And then Ryan Nemeth comes out to no reaction because nobody is sure who he is. He just has he clearly has dyed blonde hair, so they feel like they should react somehow. But anyway,
to be fair with it, they had featured him on Impact and named him as Nick Nemeth's brother.
They did feature.
So at least at least it made sense that he appeared.
Yeah.
Or at least we knew who he was.
Right. We knew who he was. They weren't that into it. But don't worry, he won't be the worst victim of the crowd's apathy on this episode. We'll get to that later. But the cheerleaders, on the other hand, they are deleting. They're going with a new delete cheer that they have just learned in the past 5 seconds. So yeah, there's your opening segment. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, like if you listen to Jeff Jarrett's podcast, one thing he says a lot on that show is creative is subjective. And I think this is definitely one of those situations. I think the actual thought process and structure of what they were attempting to accomplish and what their goals were completely on point. But in my opinion, the execution just kind of missed the mark.
Yeah. The goal was Monday Night Raw open from 10 years ago. That's what that was their goal.
Well, and I also thought too that I felt like it kind of elevated the Knockouts tag team titles a little bit with the fact that this celebration would not be happening had Alicia and Masha not won on at Under Siege.
That's true. Even though it's
how I would have fixed that up was I would have had Masha come out with them.
Well, but they did establish that that's a separate deal, so at least they're sticking to it.
True, but you could also add another layer to Masha's character being like, okay, cool, I understand this is a separate deal, but I'm not turning down a celebration.
Perhaps the system, unlike much of the American workforce, is not interested in hiring foreigners.
You really sure about that?
Well, anyway, at least one thing that Alicia could say is that Matt Hardy has a weird accent and no one understands him. So, so ABC is with Gia, no music underneath. There's no strain on the relationship at all, or is there?
This is one of those times where you can actually say that this is long-term slow storytelling, because regardless of how slow the step might be, at least they're making a step forward week to week. It might be regardless of from week to week, it might be a crawl, it might be a step, it might be a leap, but at least each week they're moving forward.
All right. Well, one step at a time. Just put one foot in front of the other, just like Scorpio Sky says.
and you're walking out the door.
So the system.
Come on, you know what that's from, man. You know what that's from.
What is it from?
Those what was it? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
The old like.
Yeah, Yukon Cornelius.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, it's been a minute. I'm definitely in the I've forgotten more about blank than you'll ever know stage of my life. So, so I barely remember here what System and Santino were talking about. I guess they were bitching about how they just got beat up on TV, and there's a purple light in the background. So I was just kind of like shaking my head about that. But Santino says he's working on something that could actually give the System a chance to get their revenge, and he just needs to put the missing piece together. So there you go, a little hook to keep you watching. What is Santino doing on the phone all night? And then we get the new FBI versus the First Class. And this is rightly seems like a rout. And it's a choke slam to a frog splash for the win. I'm glad we didn't have to waste too much time on this. But the new FBI has not been very effective since, their debut.
No, I like this match. This match is what it needed to be. The FBI is not sticking around. They're just kind of, here for those specific tapings. So they're going to be putting their guys over. And I thought this was a great match. I thought this was a decent match and did what it needed to do and made First Class look good, and they bumped and sold for him. Yeah, I have absolutely no complaints about this. This did what it needed to do. And I liked it.
All right. So now we get the Rascals accosting Santino. We get Jake Something, who's trying to get something done with Santino. Santino's caught in the middle of these guys arguing. So he's like, okay, you guys, I'll make a tag team match with you and a partner of Jake Something's choosing. So Cody Deaner says, it's the people's choice or whatever. He just does the same gimmick or whatever. So there you go. We know it's coming. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, not really, other than at least it was, trying to do something to like at least justify a match.
All right. Well, next is the sound check. Steph DeLander and Khan are on the sound check. The most notable thing about this is the Zack Ryder name drop. And other than that, I got nothing.
Now that you mention it, I'm kind of surprised that either Connor Steph DeLander didn't counter with Chelsea Green when he tried to hit on her, or when Alan Anderson tried to hit on her.
Missed opportunity. Like, are we shooting or are we not?
Right. Like if you're gonna that's one of those things where like you can't be half pregnant. You got to go all in on.
Or apparently not. Apparently you can just be half pregnant. This skit proves it.
Yeah. How hard is it to go? Like he starts hitting on her and he goes, he's married to Chelsea Green, right? And then Alan Angels goes, shit, that makes my chances even better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well, in any case, it was phony as shit, and they're going nowhere with it. Alan Angels is
yeah. This was the thing. I thought their heads were in the right place, but again, the execution just kind of missed the mark.
Well, how about Rascals versus the Deaners? Hey, the Deaners are reunited in an Albany Tornado match. The people decided it was going to be an Albany Tornado match. The people.
The peeps.
It's not getting over with me. They paint Jake and they pin Cody. And then afterwards, Burt attacks the Rascals. Burt Macklin, FBI, the other FBI member. Different FBI, though. Gia's like, why'd you do that? And then Kaz comes in and breaks up with Burt. So the King and the Burt are they're done, man.
Yep, and also too during that Gia interview, we found out something that happened at Hard Siege, where we were wondering where Trey Miguel was, and then Steve Macklin reveals that the reason we didn't see Trey Miguel because I took him out.
Well, they should all fear for their lives. Next is Mike Santana, who opens up and gets candid and any other things that are used to describe Wrestling Inc. articles. And he sits down with Tom for a little interview here, like they do every once in a while, like guys like Frankie Kazarian have done and others. They sit down with Tom and they try to get people to care. But this, I have the feeling that this worked for you. This little.
Dude, you nailed it. I very much enjoyed this. I thought this was very well done. I felt that it really like opened us up to who Mike Santana is as a person, not just as a character, but for real. And that makes it easier to connect with him and want to root for him. I have absolutely no complaints about this. I have nothing but good things to say.
All right. Well, speaking of nothing but good things to say, Piers Austin is joining us live. So I have nothing but good things to say about Piers Austin. G'day to Piers Austin. We love you, Piers. Thank you for stopping by.
So, sir.
Yeah, this episode of Impact definitely could have used you instead of this next person that we have on here, which is Gabby Laspisa from the podcast Gabby AF. Which, if you're sitting at home right now and you're saying, who? Well, guess what? So was Albany. She got hooed. She got who are you chanted. A lot of things. No offense to her, but they were not, let's say, kind and welcoming. I mean, for the record, for whatever the hell this was, I don't know what this was other than they're just trying to integrate whatever they can. Just like, like if AJ Francis can get a Cheez-Its sponsorship, then damn it, he's going to do it. Like, whatever. It may not even be his favorite snack cracker, but he'll take it. Like, that's, that's kind of what this is. It's like, what? You exist? All right, come on our show. This give us credibility.
Right. This
it
felt
ended
like
up being awkward. Awkward AF, I think, is the best way that you could describe it. Again, no comment on her ability. Just the position she was put in was never going to succeed.
Right. This is not a commentary on the people involved, but rather a commentary on this entire segment itself, individually. This whole thing, oh man. I'm sorry, it was a bomb. It was, whew.
It was like you tried to cram every person that nobody cared about into one segment, like, is basically what it ended up coming off as, because okay, so Gabby tries to introduce Ash by Elegance, right? And then that's the concierge's job. So he's going to come out and he's going to introduce, and she tries to do the who are you thing to him, like, what is your name even? You just call yourself the concierge. Like, they're trying to use her as the proxy of the audience, of like, she's asking questions that we're probably asking, like, what is this guy's name? Which we figured that out, but they have not said it. But stuff like that, like they want her to be like helping the heels get heat by her involvement of this. But anyway, so he sidesteps that question. He brings out Ash by Elegance. We get to relive the burial of Jessica Havoc. Rest in peace, Jessica Havoc. We get to relive that. She asks why that happened. Then they bring out Xia Brookside, another big nobody cares. With all due respect to this child, nobody cares. But she comes out, and then they try to get people hype up, like, oh, if you want to get your bejeweled knuckles back, you can have a match next week with me, Xia Brookside. It's like a match with the bejeweled knuckles on the line. So this is the first time I ever have we ever had like a foreign object treated like a title before? I mean, we must have at some point, but I don't know. Maybe you guys could think of a better example. This sucked.
Yep. And I just looked it up, and it turns out that her concierge is a former Northeast promoter named George Iceman.
Iceman George Parsons.
No, I think that actually is legit his name, George Iceman. I can't confirm that 100%, but from everything that I've seen, apparently that's what it looks like.
Well, good for him, but we're not supposed to know who he is or want to know who he is, but they still tried to turn that into something here. So, yeah, this was pretty bad, and this is exactly like one of those things where you just know if somebody was like, you know, if they were like, man, I keep hearing people talk about TNA this, TNA that, I'm gonna watch it. You just know that this would be the thing they would turn on and be like, what the fuck? Why does anybody want to watch this? And they would never watch it again. This is exactly the opposite of that thing that you want people to do if they turn on your program for any reason.
Right. Like if you're trying to get your friend to watch TNA and they missed the Joe Hendry, concert, and they said tune in to see this, you'd be like, damn it.
Mm. Oh, nice transition, because we have Joe Hendry on another one of these what do you want to call this, like synergistic relationships. We've got Joe Henry's appearance on Heart Radio, not iHeart Radio. That's a different thing. This is Heart Radio. They got red mic wind screens and everything, man. It's great. It also appears to be Scotland based, judging by the host accent. So hey, all right. We get to hear Joe Hendry talk about how he thinks it's funny that anybody looking at the iTunes charts would be like, what the hell is going on?
You know what? Honestly, to be fair, I mean, again, this is listening to Jeff Jarrett's podcast. Apparently, like part of like the thing that helps to sustain and build TNA's growth was a lot of those foreign partnerships and deals. Like he would call it, I believe, found money.
Mm. Mm. I guess it's the way to go. Now we'll see where that money actually gets invested back in the product. All I've seen is one purple spotlight so far on this episode. So, yeah, yeah, Liz says the TikToks where non-wrestling people were like, what the what? Listening to this song. Well, I'll tell you what about Santino's deal he was trying to put together. He is presenting us with the Champions Challenge, which to me, what it looks like is every person that has a belt in TNA versus all these other people that you probably don't want to have a belt in TNA in a match of some kind. I'm sure he explained it better than that, but I tuned out. Sorry.
Yeah, he referred to it as like some all-stars, which, okay, like when you say like an all-star non-champion team, like when you have like Josh Alexander and Eric Young, okay, that makes sense. So like those two I agree with. But Dani Luna, how long has she been around?
10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Clash of Champions and Losers, Liz. Clash of Champions and Losers. All right, well, hey, look forward to it. You know what else you could look forward to?
Yeah, and Ryan Nemeth. How long has he been around?
Oh yeah, we need a championship for this guy right now. I don't know. Was this whole thing just to get Ryan Nemeth the job? Like, is Dolph already done?
Dude.
Hey, he's a AAA mega champion now. I don't know if he has time for these small time TNA people anymore.
Right, and it wasn't like the whole thing. Wasn't he written off with an injury kind of angle, and then he's winning titles in other promotions? Like, how does that make sense?
I guess everybody in every other promotion is worse than Dolph Ziggler with a weak neck. So, but you know what? You know who's not weak? The Dark Octopus. Jonathan Gresham.
Oh, this was dark.
Dark. So dark. Except it kind of wasn't. So we
dark. Bobby Newport.
So here's Will Ferreira. One of the I've seen this guy before. I don't remember where. But doesn't matter. So Jonathan Gresham's got the new gimmick, right? Kind of. It's kind of got a new gimmick. It's a dark octopus. It's very dark. But the first part of this match, he's still doing that like the goofy fancy English chain wrestling stuff. You know, like where he's like this has always been my least favorite thing about Jonathan Gresham is he does like he's a fantastic, you know, technical wrestler, whatever that means, right? But he's like he does these things where it's like everything's like, you know, it's I don't know, if you watch the old English wrestling, sometimes it seemed almost like jokey, you know, like Colt Cabana type. You know what I mean? That's the best example I could give. Like Colt Cabana does like old comedy, you know, catch wrestling spots. Like
Right. Like if Monty Python did a wrestling sketch, you could see Colt Cabana in that.
right. And Jonathan Gresham does that, and I never liked that. I always wished he would take things more seriously if, you know, when he was doing that. And he kind of doesn't always do that. He just does it sometimes. But like his little sequences and stuff, and he does the like the little, you know, the taunting and shit like that. Like, well, you know, I never liked that before, but especially if now you're dark octopus. Now I really don't like it. Cause you just dressed like this and came out with this music and this look and all this shit, and you're coughing up ink, and then you start doing this. Like that's not
Right. That's kind
a
of
little incongruous.
there's kind of a disconnect there. Yes, absolutely. I 100% see where you're coming from.
So that would have been a perfect opportunity for him to ditch that, but for some reason he brings it back. So I don't like that. He basically just wrestled like himself until the finish, where he just hacked up the stuff and smothered the guy again. So he's not even really like working the dark octopus gimmick. He's just doing the same thing, but he's wearing a mask now with extra black makeup and contact lenses and spitting. But other than that, he's exactly the same. So I don't like that. If you change your gimmick, you should work different. That's how I think. But did you have any thoughts on this?
No, I'm 100% with you, and I think he's still kind of trying to. I mean, this is a dude who's been working that style for shit almost 2 decades at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tough habits are hard to break. I think he kind of has to kind of figure his way through this. I mean, it's not. I mean, hopefully he does. We're still very early on. We can't really say where it's going to go from here, but we just know where it's at now and where we think it should go. And I do agree with you on that. He should like kind of ditch the whole English chain wrestling thing with, okay, like you're doing this character now. Would this character be doing that?
Yeah. Well, at least the silly part of it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't chain wrestle a guy, but don't be silly.
Right. Like throw it in there where it makes sense. Like, okay, if you're trying to break somebody down to get him where you need to be to put on a hold, that's one thing.
Yeah. Huh. Well, we did get an answer to a question that we've been asking for a while. We were saying, where's Giselle Shaw been? Well, apparently she's been at one of those weird retreat things in the woods out in the middle of nowhere, because that's where Gail Kim finds her meditating and says, we need to talk. So
Yep, and this gives further credence to that TNA listens to this show, because I kept pushing a Giselle Shaw Gail Kim storyline.
So they probably had to, you know, they probably just had to find a nice place to enroll her in so that she can meditate for several weeks and fully get in character before they could start.
And it looks like, and when Giselle comes back, she'll be a babyface.
Yep, because we love. Let's see what happens when she comes back. Ali joins the desk for the main event: 7-Ball versus ABC. What's on the line with this? Some sort of number one contendership to something?
So basically the way it works is It's kind of a weird ass wonky tournament where the winning team of this match faces each other, and then the person who wins that match faces Ali for the X Division title.
Beautiful. Perfect. Well, what'd you think of the match?
Too long. Again, this is one of those things where you had enough story with ABC going in where you could have easily gotten this done in 7 to 10 instead of, 15 to 17.
Mm. And you probably also could have done with them not being in the ring at the same time for forever.
Right.
This is another one of those matches where it's supposedly a tag match. I didn't see a lot of tagging. It was just a lot of everybody being in there. What do we know? What do we know? What I do know is that they 7 Ball hits the Birminghammer. What is a wonderful pun. To the Ultimate Weapon. And it looks like ABC's going to have some things to talk about. But that's it. No further angle. No follow-up. Just a little bit of, Ace and Bay looking at each other like, but
yeah, like really the only story advancement in this match was the finish where Ace was spent a lot of time jaw jacking with Ali at ringside of the announce table, which gave Trent Seven enough time to recover, fire back, and then that's what ended up leading to ABC losing. That's really the only thing that came out of this.
That is
now granted, we there's the whole thing with Mike Bailey and Trent Seven wrestling each other for the number 1 contendership, but with the way they've been kind of set up, it's very clear going to be, best man wins. We're going to shake each other's hand when it's over. Like, we know how that's going to go down without even watching the match.
Right. We're not getting no angle out of that. All right. I mean, that's it. That's the show. I can't imagine anybody watching this show and being super excited for the next episode. I can imagine at best they'd just be like, oh, all right. Okay, man. All right. Seems like a very mild way to end it, but hey, perhaps we could punch it up. What do you think? Think we can that?
Let's go ahead and get that done.
Let's punch something.
All right, and I kind of have a surprise announcement for you guys. This is the last Impact Attack as well as watch along that will be done on this laptop. Apparently, my computer is working again.
Wow.
Yep. So I'm going to be reading this week's punching up from the computer monitor.
Whoa.
All right. So let me make sure we go ahead and get things ready. All right.
More exciting development than anything we just talked about.
All right. So we open it up with our recap, and ketchup packet.
There it is.
Go to the announce table, run down the card for tonight, talk about recent events, give their thoughts, in-ring with the system music and entrance with cheerleaders, same promo as on the show, Matt Hardy music and entrance, same brawl with Ryan Nemeth running in, the system bail, and we go to our first commercial break. We come back with the system and Santino backstage. The system complains to Santino that Ryan doesn't work for TNA. Same promo, except the system vows to do the same thing to Ryan that they did to Nick by the end of the night. Then we go to a replay of the X Division Championship finish from Under Siege. Go backstage with Gia and ABC. We get the same interview we got on the show. I actually added 2 matches to this show. This is one of them. Match number 1. Laredo Kid versus Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight music and entrance. Laredo Kid music and entrance. Laredo Kid over clean. Crazy Steve jumps Laredo Kid after match before Knight runs him off.
Fire him. I do want to point out one thing that I didn't really mention, but I was thinking it at the time when I was watching it. When Ryan Nemeth got in the ring, it was so very and I told you how the crowd had no reaction to it whatsoever. But it also gave me, the way they were trying to fire it up was definitely the old "what is Ryan Nemeth doing in the Impact Zone" type of feeling to it, where they're just really trying to hype this up like anybody should care, and no one will ever care about Ryan Nemeth. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I do kind of agree with you on that one. Like, the only people who would really care, like who would have like any idea of why or recognize him or why he's getting involved, is who's watching the show on a consistent weekly basis.
And his own brother. And just for the record, just so everybody knows why Kevin Knight could not be on this show, even if Brandon really, really wanted him to, but physically couldn't be on this show because he's doing the Best of Super Juniors tour over in Japan right now for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's why you won't be seeing him for a little while. Maybe a couple more weeks, but that's where Kevin Knight is, and Kushida, in case anybody's wondering. They're both in that tournament. So
that I was unaware of. If I would have had that knowledge, this would be a completely different show.
Hey, it's fantasy booking, man.
All right, and then we go to the parking lot with the system. The system finds Ryan's car, and they tell the cameraman to shut the camera off before we go to our second commercial break. We come back to the parking lot with Santino and security. Santino says it has to be the system who destroyed Ryan's car and slashed the tires. Then we go to a pre-tape sound check with Alan Angel, Steph DeLander, and Khan. Same one as we got on the show. Then we go to match number 2, FBI versus First Class. First Class music and entrance, FBI music and entrance. Same match we got on the show. Backstage with Santino, Jake Something, Cody Deaner, and the Rascals. Same segment we got on the show. Sit-down interview, Mike Santana and Tom Hannafan. Same one we got on the show. And then this is the second match that I added, match number 3. Alexander Hammerstone versus Jack Price. Jack Price music and entrance. Hammerstone jumps Price on ramp and beats him to the ring before he hits his finisher for the win. Then we get a Sami Callihan interruption on the big screen. Sami Callihan says that he won't let anyone else cause more chaos and destruction in TNA than him, and Hammerstone is Callahan's first target on that.
So now, Hammerstone with a legitimate injury in real life, are we saying that he's good enough to beat Jack Price even with one leg, or?
This is the first time hearing about that too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we talked about it before. Yeah, apparently he got hurt doing that stupid ass pull apart that they did with him and whoever.
Wow.
I mean, I assume it was at some point during that, because I don't think Impact's running any house shows that he would have done any, unless he went to some different independent booking and got hurt on that. So I just assumed it happened somewhere in that taping when that went down. But
yeah, I legit don't remember that happening.
It didn't happen on TV. That's reported later.
Yes, I remember like when I was watching the show, like that's one of the things is like, where's Hammerstone and Josh Alexander at?
I don't know. I would have been like, hey, bro, send me something from your phone. Anything. We need it on this show. That's what I would have told him. But send a selfie video from your hospital bed.
But yeah, but anyway, it'd be setting up a Callahan and a Hammerstone program.
Okay.
And then we go backstage with the system. They continue to look for Ryan Nemeth. Santino confronts them about the car damage, and they deny it. Before we go to our third commercial break, and then we come back with footage of Joe Hendry's appearance on Heart Radio. And then match number 4, ABC versus Speedball Mountain. Ali on commentary, Speedball Mountain music and entrance, ABC music and entrance, and a much more condensed version of the match we got on the show. And then they go to the Gail Kim and Giselle Shaw vignette, same one we got on the show. And they go to the in-ring with the Ash by Elegance, Concierge, Zaya Brookside, Gabby, except that it would be, okay, we're going to sit back and actually get this thing executed and know, okay, so we're going to bad like it did on the show. And then it goes to our fourth commercial break. We come backstage with Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy tells Ryan they're not alone and he has a plan. Match number 5, Jonathan Gresham versus Will Ferrara. Ferrara already in the ring. Jonathan Gresham, music and entrance. Same match on the show, but with the things that we talked about added in. We go backstage with Santino where he announces the Champions Challenge. And then we go to a Decay vignette. They mentioned that they haven't been doing well recently. Decide they need a new member. They say they can't. They say they can find a meat suit on the roster for one of their demon friends or call in an old friend.
They need to find a shovel for whoever dug up PCO from Las Vegas to get Havoc out, because fuck.
And then we go to match number 6, Jake Something and Cody Deaner versus the Rascals. Rascals music and entrance, Jake Something music and entrance, Cody Deaner music and entrance, condensed version of match and post-show match advancement with Macklin and Kazarian. Then we go backstage with Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy, and they are on their way to the ring to call out the system. We go to our 5th and final commercial break, New Japan hype video, announce table. See, run down the card for next week, and I got to move this, I apologize. Run down card for next week, and we go to an in-ring, Matt Hardy music and entrance with Ryan Nemeth. Ryan cuts promo on the show, cuts promo on how the system is looking for him. He's right there. The system music and entrance, the system come out, but Alicia is missing. We cut to a shot backstage of Alicia laid out, and Rebby Hardy is standing over here. Vanguard 1 flies out while Senor Benjamin hops the rail with 3 shovels, gives the extras to Ryan and Matt, and then both groups stare each other down as we go off the air.
Oh. And then as we go off the air, but for the live crowd, they go and try to dig Jessica Havoc out of last week's Under Siege match. Well, there you go. Well, I'm not going to be happy about any more Hardy, House of Hardy shenanigans, but I'm sure somebody will be. Well, there it is.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes, a punching up Impact that, due to some real world implications, may need another punching up, but it's fine. We can go with it. But yeah.
Yeah, so. I'm sorry. I was like, when I was writing this, I did not have that in my mind at all. I did not even know that was going on with those two.
Well, I'll tell you, it's definitely something that probably crossed their mind, because with what we end up getting on the show, I'm sure that they didn't arrive at that without wishing that they had at least Kevin Knight or Alexander Hammerstone to work with. But then again, because it's them, they could have both been healthy and not on the show. Like, I just don't see the consistency. Not only do I not see the consistency in booking,
also too,
when I'm looking at, just 1 second. When I look across the landscape of pro wrestling, not only do I not see the consistency in just the booking of the stories and the progression of where they're going, I don't even see consistency in them recognizing who their stars are and who their money is. Like, you don't see it. You don't see it. And it's your job to see it. I'm just here to watch it, but your job is to see it. You really don't see who's the money on your television? Some people do. Like, there's people that are undeniable, like, oh yeah, you gotta have, whatever. You gotta have Jey Uso say yeet. Whatever it is. Like, there's people that they get that. But then there's other people that get left off, and it's like, you do realize that nobody wants to see this other stuff you're putting on there, and they would love to see this. So...
yeah, why do you think my punching ups have a lot more Moose in the show than just the first 15 minutes of it?
Exactly. And he's like acknowledged as, at least at this point, it's like, yes, Moose is the best we got. He is the champion. And even still, we're like, we need more Moose. We're not getting it. If Moose is not exempt from this shabby treatment, then who is in TNA, really?
Right, and to answer Tennessee Couponer, I can definitely see Jeff jumping with Matt once his AEW contract expires, 100%. They don't need the money. They're pretty much covered. They just want to be creative and have fun. That's kind of where those guys are at right now.
Yeah, and also if your options are, just stand around and be weird and get paid, or have Sammy Guevara break your face in a meaningless match, I mean, what are you gonna, what are you gonna choose? So seems like a no-brainer. He's probably just waiting it out. And I don't even know if that's a question of Matt Hardy bringing Jeff. It's not like he needs.
Right.
This isn't like a Nick Nemeth Ryan Nemeth situation. It's not like he needs the help. He sells himself if you want him.
Right. Like I could easily see both Hardy Boys going to TNA saying, "Hey, just pay me what I need to kind of sustain my lifestyle at the bare minimum. I just want to be creative and have fun."
Yeah. We all just want to be creative and have fun. Well, if it ain't Moose, I ain't having fun. So it was all downhill after pretty much the first 20 minutes of the show for me, but what can you do? Well, I'll tell you what you could do. You can go to Powertown Wrestling. Pre-orders for Moose action figures are still open until May 31st, so be sure to get yours today. But other than that, I think it's kind of time we get on out of here. Brandon, what do you say?
Let's unfortunately, not a lot going on this week.
No. But if you want to find out things that are going on, you can definitely follow us at all of our places. Brandon, where can they find you?
As always, I am on Twitter, as the kids call it these days, the X
they call it Twitter.
I'm on there at Transarchustia, although for how much longer I do not know. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/MissTia the Transarchist. Again, for how much longer I do not know, because I plan on a complete rebrand, and with my computer working again, that's going to happen a lot sooner than I had expected.
Nice.
And then I'm also on Substack at HMG Brandon, where I just did an upload of a lot of backlogs of old Punching Up Impacts.
Nice. So that way you guys can see like the progression of where we tried to go, where the company did not go. So, or maybe there was some alignment, goal alignment, Conrad. Since we've mentioned his podcast so damn many times tonight, might as well give one more shout out to My World with Jeff Jarrett. Ho! So yeah, you could go listen to My World with Jeff Jarrett.
And there's gonna be nothing discreet about your package.
Yeah. It's a hot tag for your wiener. You put a
get your dick so hard
get your wiener hard. Get your wiener
so hard a cat can't scratch it. Wait, wrong podcast.
Yeah, he should say get your wiener so hard you could bust a guitar over it. That you can have that one, Conrad. You can have
this
that
is a
one.
good face palm. This is a good face palm.
Yeah. It's you can have that for free, buddy. But yeah. So yeah, you can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms, whether it's Twitter or X. But there, Twitch, like you said, Instagram, everywhere, at Opinion Haver. All rebranded right the first time. I've been Opinion Haver for, God, when did I get 2005-ish? I started using that, 2006. So easy to remember, all one stop everywhere, Opinion Haver for everything. And you can stop in for the Next Level Wrestling review on Wednesday with Big Ray Hernandez, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And guys, you're going to want to check out this week because as most of you know by now, like the Hami Media group suffered a huge hit with the passing of Mike Verde, and it was somewhat out of left field, but then again, if you've known Mike for a long time, not really. And we are going to talk about him and do our best to sort of remember him. Jimmy T will be joining us, and we're going to spend some time with that. Brandon, I know that he was a big part of supporting you and the things that you were doing, just like he was with everybody. That's one of the things that made Mike great, is the way he would support someone and then he finds that community, and then he branches out to that community, supports them, and he was really tying a lot of us together in a lot of different ways that maybe you would never have really interacted before. Whether, like if you and I do stuff here with Hameen Media Group, and then we also do our own things, and he's a part of both of those things. And then people that come in for those things, he goes out to them, and maybe they come to Hameen Media Group and check things out. It was just a big, just like the heart and soul of the group, really. So even though he's gone, he's never gone. He'll always be here, and we'll always talk about him. We'll always remember him. But yeah, this would be the first. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to give any thoughts or feelings. I know you've done some watch-alongs and stuff, but
Oh
really,
man,
really gonna miss him.
yeah. Like anytime there was any like HMG thing going on, or you could pretty much count on him to just be there and just somebody you can just chat with, have a good time with. I mean, he was always looking to have a good time and just have fun and just forget about what he was dealing with and just wanted to hang out with people and make him have a good time. And he will absolutely be missed. Like man, I was going into this thing, like, man, this is the first Impact Attack without him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times he'd be right there, one of the first comments, if not the first comment, and just wanted to check in. Even if he couldn't make it to the show, he'd want to leave a comment just to let everybody know, that he was thinking about us. So that's obviously the least we'll be able to do forever. So definitely don't miss this special Next Level Wrestling review. I mean, we'll still do the usual news, usual back in time, usual 3 count, all the stuff, and we'll do the NXT, and then we will share about Mike, and so we want you guys to be there if you can. But if you can't, you know where to find it, channelattitude.com, and just be there for us with that. Jimmy T, you can find him with me every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for The Wreckage. The Wreckage. It was nice when they had some shows in the Chicago area, so that it was very fitting to be able to say The Wreckage. But yeah, so that's, yes, Brandon, were you about to say something?
No, it's just weird. Every time you say The Wreckage, for some reason, the thing that always comes to my mind is that one scene from Tommy Boy when they're in that one guy's office trying to pitch in that thing, and Tommy's playing with the model cars and then crashes them together and sets one on fire.
Yeah. Here comes the meat wagon. Wee, wee, wee.
You got the guy's first day on the job. Oh my God.
Yeah. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, check out The Wreckage every Sunday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, Jimmy T. Check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers, every week live Q&A. Ask Rip Rogers a question. You'll never know what you'll get for an answer, but it'll always be entertaining. Just go check that out every Concrete, except when it's not, which is actually this last week. It wasn't. It was actually a little bit earlier. Little 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. So not the usual Concrete, but hit that subscribe and get the notifications, and then you'll be the first to know when they go live. And then Stevie Richards is retooling the wrestling analysis. He's got some preview stuff up now. He's showing you his setup. He's showing you his curriculum. He's going to break down, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you know what's up first, the psychology of the pro wrestling entrance. So he's gonna show you what the pro wrestling entrance is about. I haven't even had a chance. It's so fresh and hot. I haven't even had a chance to check it out yet, but that will be coming soon. But those type of things will be on Patreon only, because otherwise YouTube will, just block it all to copyright hell. So check out Stevie, support Stevie. Check out Rip Rogers, support Rip Rogers. You're already supporting HMG, and we love you all. So for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.